Yes, people, and welcome to FPL Hive. This channel has been a long time coming, but we are here now. We're going to be giving you great FPL content throughout the whole season and many more seasons to come. Myself, Ty, Bains, Harj as well, who you will see in future videos. But guys, what I want you to do is make sure you like this video, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, make sure you get your comments in and interact with us, because FPL is a community. We all want to win, right? So let's support each other, watch our videos, get tips, provide your own tips, and let's rock and roll into the 25-26 season. But thank you for watching, and let's roll into it. So what we're going to do, people, is talk about Bains' team. We're going to go straight into it, into the action. Game week 1, team selection. Let us know what you'll think, and we'll go from there. So, people, as we can see here, he's gone with Sanchez for Chelsea at home to Crystal Palace first game. Dubravka for Burnley. Tarkowski for Everton. Diouf, new signing for West Ham at the left-back side. We've got Virgil van Dijk, the Liverpool captain. Murillo, Forest, and a Steve from Burnley. An interesting selection and combination of a 6 million defender, 2 5.5, a 5 million keeper, and a 4.5 defender alongside a 4 mil keeper and defender in a Steve and Dubravka from Burnley. Bains, talk to me about your selection, because for me, straight away, the Tarkowski pick is interesting.
I think straight away, the people will probably say that's a lot of money in defense.
Yeah.
I think, listen, it is going to be a risk. It's the first season properly with defensive contributions. From what we understand, the defensive contribution with how they worked last year, Tarkowski obviously was very, very high. He would have got 44 extra points. Murillo would have been the second highest scoring defender, I think it is, with defensive contributions as they did. Obviously, you probably look at it saying 2 5.5s is a bit of a risk, especially when you see the rest of my team in terms of like the structure of it. But I think, like I said, I want to raise the floor of my team straight away, especially for the opening part of the season. I think Everton have a decent run of fixtures. The only thing I would say before recording, I think there were rumours that Braithwaite might be injured. If that is the case, then you're probably saying Everton's clean sheet chances go down, especially when we saw them without Braithwaite last year.
Yeah,
so that's
I would
probably
agree.
an issue. But as I said, I think Tarkowski as an asset within himself.
Yeah,
Minimum 4 points.
He is a big threat from corners as well, set pieces going forward, which is I think can be a huge asset. Murillo is an interesting one at 5.5. We know that Nottingham Forest have not been great going forward, but based on what they've done last season, are you slightly nervous if they can keep up those standards in defense this season?
Yes, but then this is what I say. The floor of my team is quite high in terms of Tarkowski. We saw it the other day. It took him 67 minutes to reach the defensive contribution marker. Murillo's another one where he would have been the second highest scoring defender. Even, let's say, Nottingham Forest defensively are a bit worse off in terms of clean sheets. We saw how good he is in the defensive contribution system kind of thing, innit? I think my only question mark is then comparing the Nottingham Forest defenders within themselves kind of thing, innit? So I think a lot of people have gone with Nico Williams a bit cheap at 0.5 million, which I have played around with because we'll discuss it. There's another 6 million defender that I might want. Milenkovic probably is a bit worse in the defensive contribution system to Murillo, but then you argue Milenkovic's goal rate is a lot higher.
Yep, I agree with that.
So that's something that I have looked at. I also saw there was a graphic that Tom Hadley made, like everyone knows him in the FPL community on Twitter. When Nottingham Forest kept a clean sheet, Milenkovic's defensive contribution numbers weren't as high as Murillo's, isn't it? So that's where, if we're looking at for like the higher returns, a 10, 11 pointer, I would hope Murillo edges him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's where I've gone with him over maybe the other Nottingham Forest defenders. Diouf, this is probably a bit more of a offensive fun pick. I think what we've seen in preseason, he's looked very, very good.
Yeah. He's very good for Senegal against England.
His numbers offensively in his previous club were very, very good. We've seen, obviously, Graham Potter, he's a bit more flexible with his systems compared to other managers, but he's played a lot of the back three system in preseason. Diouf as a wing back, so offensively it helps. So that's something I want to take a risk on. Diouf opening fixture Sunderland, which is obviously a great potential fixture because you never know when the newly promoted side goes up.
Yep.
But that's probably a bit more of an exciting pick, but that's also a pick that I don't think is locked. Like I said before, I'm a bit more heavy on the defensive contribution system.
Yeah, I see it. You've gone big on the defenders, and it could have a lot of upside, especially with the Tarkowski pick. I do think Everton's fixtures are kind. I think he's a big set piece threat, and he's back from injury. And also, I believe he's the captain of the club as well. At 6 million, I do want to ask you briefly about Virgil van Dijk. There's a lot of other defenders that people are looking at in terms of Gavardiol, 8 Nori. You can even downgrade Virgil to a 5.5 and maybe upscale your midfield or attack, which we'll get to in the future. But Virgil van Dijk, what's the reason for him as your 6 million pick?
I'll be honest, this is the one that I'm probably most unsure on in my defense. Just because I think with Virgil van Dijk, we know defensive contribution wise, he's better than the other 6 million defenders. But at the same time, I'm not too sure if I rate Liverpool as highly from a defensive point of view. I think we saw their weaknesses in the Community Shield game against Crystal Palace. I think offensively, if we look at Virgil van Dijk in recent years, he hasn't been that same Virgil van Dijk where, especially that early Liverpool, where you used to get between like 5 to 6, 7 returns from an offensive point of view. So Virgil van Dijk's kind of lost that in recent years. But at the same time, he just has that guarantee of minutes that I think I like. He has a defensive contribution system that I like. But at the same time, there is one player that I'm really, really tempted to put, and that's Cucurella. So, so that's probably not the 6 million defender that you would have thought. But with Cucurella, I said it, Chelsea's opening fixtures are brilliant, which is why I have Sanchez in goal, for example, innit? But at the same time, Cucurella gets a lot of attacking returns.
Yeah, he does.
We saw it last year.
Look at potentially Virgil going to Cucurella and Sanchez going to Sales.
Yeah, so that's something that I thought of. Just because Nottingham Forest, I think in pre-season, I've kept 5 clean sheets in this 7 games. I think it is something ridiculous like that.
Okay.
But at the same time, with Cucurella, it's just, I think with Chelsea, of course, like it's a new season. I think Maresca's still a young manager in terms of we still don't know how he's going to fully adjust to the situation. But I think Chelsea had the luxury last year where the second string of teams, they were lucky they were in the Conference League to rotate in it. How is now Maresca, when Chelsea are in the Champions League, going to rotate the squad? That's a question mark that I think I have.
Yeah.
I think obviously they signed Hato. Hato can play left back, can play centre back. So could Hato get minutes there in certain games? I think the answer is potentially yes. So that's the only reason why I'm leaning towards Virgil over Cucurella, just for the guaranteed minutes.
Especially at the moment with Virgil, he's going to start. They've got Guehi coming in, but if anything, Guehi's going to be rotating with Konate. Virgil is a lock. And at the moment, I think at this point, if you're playing FPL for the first time or you're playing FPL every season, you know that you don't want to be wasting transfers early on in the season. You kind of want to have a team that's a set 8 or 9, 10 players that, you know, are starting religiously, and you hope that it can get a lot of upside so you don't have to take them out, or their price can improve and you gain money back from it financially. I think Virgil, I understand why he would be in a lot of teams. So that's that man's defense. Guys, let us know in the comments whether you like this defense, what you don't like about it. Suggestions always help. And this is one of the most interesting talking points of FPL at the moment. Who are people putting in midfield? Are they going with Salah? Are they not going with Salah? Well, as we can see, people, Salah is included in this midfield. You've got Salah, Palmer, Gakpo, Ndiaye, and Mr. Anderson, who I've seen in a lot of teams across the FPL world. Guys, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. But Statman, talk me through this whole midfield selection, because it seems to be a popular choice among people right now.
I think one thing that I think a lot of people will realize straight away is how much I like a safety net. Like we've seen it, Salah's ownership as of right now is over 50% in it. So going without Salah for me is a bit too much of a risk, especially at the start of the season. Realistically, I don't want to fall too far behind if Salah, let's say I go without him and he does well in it. So that's one thing. I'm just happy and comfortable with Salah, even though obviously I don't expect him to recreate last season's magic. And obviously at 14.5, it's going to be difficult to obviously pay off that price point. But I just have to have him just because I'm scared. That's literally it.
Yeah, I understand it. It's got to be Haaland or Salah. You've got to make a decision. You have to.
Yeah. Palmer, I think he's pretty much a lock in pretty much every single draft you probably see. Palmer, he speaks for itself. Club World Cup, he looked back to his best in terms of attacking contributions, penalties, Chelsea's fixtures. There's no doubt about it. Palmer is literally the first name on my team sheet. Gakpo's the other one. I think that's 7.
I'm really intrigued by that pick. Knowing that I've played FPL with you a long time, it's not the type of pick you'd go for.
I think I have the security of minutes with other players in my team in it, which is why I don't mind the Gakpo pick, even though I think a lot of people will probably look at how I play FPL and probably say Rodgers at 7 million could be a bit more. Yeah. Especially if he's fit from the start of the season, safety net kind of thing. But at the same time with Gakpo, as I said, Liverpool don't really have anyone else on the left-hand side, bar obviously the 16-year-old kid, which he's doing very, very well in preseason. The Rio, how do you pronounce his second name in it? But at the same time, Gakpo's a senior man on the left-hand side. He's going to start the season until obviously the exact situation. Then maybe Etekite might move out wide. But for now, we know Gakpo's starting. Gakpo's expected goal involvement numbers were very, very good last year. So that's why the underlying data kind of sports it with Gakpo in it. His underlying data is good. I trust him to start. Liverpool, obviously one of the best sides in the league. I think the opening three fixtures people are looking at it and saying they're tough. But I think from an offensive point of view,
they will get
goals
chances.
in there.
Yep, there's goals in them games.
Like we said, the first game is Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a decent side, but defensively they've
lost the back three.
Exactly. Like I think that's a good fixture to
and
target.
Keeper, free, and the keeper, by the way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have gone with Salah and worked in it. So doubling up on that Liverpool midfield, which is why I think is important. I'm not too 100% sure on that words price point. Just I can't reach it without sacrificing people in my defense pretty much in it. Which is why I don't want to do it. So that's why I've gone with Gakpo. I think that in Jai pick is another one where I'm not 100% certain on.
Yeah, I've been like this as well once we get to my team, but I've been really in and out with him because I don't think Everton score and create enough. But I can also see the potential that he's going to be their main contributor if they do. Is that how you're looking at it?
Yeah, and also he has penalties as well, pretty much. Like that, Everton's opening fixtures are good. I think the signing of Grealish, it depends obviously where and how that front line function, because they've also been linked to Dyler Dibbling. Obviously up top, they've got that Barry guy now. So offensively, they look really, really good in terms of personnel in it. But it's obviously now, could we potentially see Njai some games come off early with how much attacking talent that they have?
Potentially.
That's
these are question marks we've got to look at, because Grealish is going to come in and play off the left. We don't really see them play a 4-2-3-1, so it could be a 3-man midfield. Ndai could be pushed into the 10 role though, but we've got to remember they've just signed Keenan Dewsbury Hall, another player that can operate in them positions. And so all of a sudden, Everton have gone from lack of depth to great depth potentially.
And Dewsbury Hall started 10 in the last preseason game. I think with the signing of Grealish, I think there's a possibility that Grealish and Njai obviously rotate between the number 10 on the left-hand side. Dewsbury Hall a bit more like as a number 8 really in that midfield. So I think there's obviously that possibility of that, but there are other options in that 6.5 price bracket that I think I like. I think a lot of people have gone with Kudus at Spurs, which I can understand, but at the same time, you watch Kudus, end products is always a big question mark, isn't it?
Yes.
But then at the same time,
sometimes I do believe he could be the pass before the pass.
But at the same time, I think in some preseason games, he's taking set pieces in it, which is why there's another route to points, like we can say.
He could be explosive, but I believe that, you know, without letting too much into my team, I think Kudus is a stand and watch and see what happens.
I think the one that
they are linked to Savinho and Eze as well.
Yeah, the one that I'm probably most likely to switch if I do before the deadline is Saar at Palace. I think Palace, we saw it in the Community Shield game. They looked good against Liverpool. Saar's expected goal involvements even last year numbers were really, 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 really good in it. And Saar's obviously an asset that I had last year. I think at that 6.5 million price point, he has minutes as well. But then he has that problem where I think
6.5 million. Then that's a great option. To be fair, he always plays 90 minutes, even over Mateta and over Eze.
But then the problem I have is, say if they do lose at Eze, that's a big, vital blow in that side, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why, listen, we trust.
There's some good options this year at 6.5, 5.5. So I can understand why players like Ndai might change. Even Anderson, you know, you could look at Anderson and say other 5.5 players that like Tijani Reinders, you know, Donyell Marlon. There's other options out there that people could go for. Are you looking at Anderson as more defensive contributions?
Yeah, defensive contributions, obviously, Anderson rates very, very highly. Also, we forget with the defensive contribution thing and overall minutes with Anderson. Anderson weren't really starting at the start of last season. It's towards like the middle part that he really solidified his space in that Nottingham Forest side and started getting minutes. I think he got 8 goal contributions, or was it 10 between that, which is obviously like a decent marker. So that's why I've got Anderson in. I think there's other 5.5s that I do like. I think Reinders, the only problem is minutes. I don't trust his minutes at Man City. The one that I think I'm probably most excited about, which I said to you, is John Arias. Because John Arias, obviously, the opening day
fixture. And if anyone doesn't know, John Arias, he signed for Wolves.
Yeah, that opening day fixture is Man City. But overall,
Yeah.
His numbers at his previous club were very, very good. In
I think it was at Flamengo or Fluminense, and he was on set
Flumin,
pieces as well for Wolves over the pre-season.
and there's potential that he could be on penalties. He's already scored in pre-season. And I think overall with him, it's just that unknown in terms of getting in early kind
Yes.
of thing.
Yeah.
Like if I get him in,
100%.
I know his ownership's probably underneath 5%. He's going to be
This is what I
differential.
like about FPL. Obviously, there's your team, my team. We're going to do Harji's team as well, and people that are going to put their comments in as well. There is so many sort of near misses or could be nearly big hits. You know, in Diet 6.5 could really work. If not, it could be a Sar, it could be a Kudus. You're 1 or 2 decisions away from an extra 20 to 25 points or 15 to 25 points in your game week, just for the sake of 2-3 players. And it's about trying to time it and get them players right. And look, it's the first week. We're all going to learn, but we're all going to be strong on our teams.
And I think with Aris as well, just quickly, a lot of people will probably question mark, is he ready for the Premier League? How much impact do we expect him to make straight away? In the Club World Cup, in the first 4 games that Fluminense played, he got man of the match in 3 of them.
Yeah,
and that included Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund, which are, one of them is a Champions League finalist kind of thing, isn't it? So that just shows, I think, the level that he's at, which I think could be very, very interesting. But I'd rather have the safety with Anderson for now.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, guys, that is Bains' midfield. Now, let's see his front three. And over to the front three. We've already said it has to be Salah, Haaland, or one of each. There is no Haaland in this team. Watkins for Aston Villa, João Pedro for Chelsea, and the young Bournemouth striker, 4.5 million. Well, I'm going to say I'm not surprised by Ollie Watkins. He's in a lot of teams. You've gone with him. João Pedro, another highly percentage-owned player in a lot of teams. The young Bournemouth player, I get it, just a place point. But talk to me about why you went for Watkins and why João Pedro.
I think Watkins has pretty much been a lock since day one. I don't think there's really any doubt that he's going to be taken out. I think with Watkins, we know pre-season he's scoring goals for Villa. Overall, Villa offensively are a decent side. We know Watkins, bar maybe the new guy that they signed from Nice, who could play out top. Marlon could play out top. They're almost like, let's say, wingers that could play out top. Watkins is the only number 9, recognized 9. He will start, if that makes sense, innit?
Yep.
And listen, I always say it with Watkins, people underestimate how much of a big chance monster he is. I think I even said it to you last year. There was a point where his big chances numbers were blowing everyone bar Erling Haaland out the water. He will have chances, which is why I'm like, I have that baseline with Watkins where I know what I'm going to get. João Pedro's the other one. 7.5, as I said, listen, this is another one where it's more of an ownership play, but it's also a player, like a 7.5 million point structure that I wanted to have, just because I know if I want to get rid, there's a Solanke, there's a Chris Wood, there's a Mateta, who I think a lot of people underestimate. Eben Nilsson at 7 million that I can pivot to, if that makes sense. But then at the same time, there is a part of me that thinks, listen, João Pedro is playing for the Club World Cup champions. Chelsea are a very, very good asset. So as much as I might have him just to pivot, he will do well.
He will do well.
But at the same time, like Ty, you know me, I like minutes. How many times will
is he a minute risk? Obviously, with Liam Delap sniffing, he's going to want opportunities. He's going to want moments. They've got 2 games a week with the Champions League. I believe Watkins. I'm not going to say too much on him. I believe he's a lock-in. I understand why. The João Pedro one is the one that's questionable because, you know, if you take off a 0.5 million off your team elsewhere, there are other options. You said Elvin Nilsson. You know, they play Liverpool first game of the season. After that, they've got Wolves and Tottenham. You're looking at Chris Wood. I'm going to mark him out. But in terms of fixtures, Brentford, Palace, West Ham, there are opportunities there. You know, Jared Bowen, I think he's very much someone that people are not looking at as much as maybe they should be. They're playing a 3-5-2. He's now starting up top. Sunderland, Chelsea, Forest in his first 3. There are other options there. So at least you've got someone to move around too. But have you considered any of those options as strong possibilities, or is João Pedro a lock?
I've considered Jared Bowen. I think in my previous draft to this, I had Jared Bowen. The only reason I had Jared Bowen is, let's say, for example, a 7.5 million striker does well. So let's say a Solanke. His price is going to rise to 7.6, 7.7, because we know how volatile prices are, especially at the start of the season, isn't it? A lot of engaged managers. The more engaged managers, the more transfers being made, which is why prices are likely to rise. So if you have that Jared Bowen at 8 million, if one of the 7.5 millions do well, you can kind of move down, if that makes sense, innit?
Yeah.
The only risk with the João Pedro thing is, say João Pedro does do, let's say, bad. he's going to go down, let's say, to a 7.4. But let's say even if he stays as a 7.5, if Solanke goes and bangs it on the weekend, gets a hat trick, he's going to be 7.6, 7.7.
Yes.
Now I price myself out of Solanke.
Yeah. Do you think he could be one of the most underrated or respected players? Because they've got Burnley and Bournemouth in two of their home games. First three games. Yeah.
Like I said, Solanke would be a lock in my team if he had played in pre-season.
Yeah,
he's obviously been carrying.
He's got married as well. He's got Richarlison could be a pick for the first 3 weeks, but then you've got to get him out.
What does that being married has to do with it, Ty?
No, but you're going on your honeymoon. You're going to enjoy it. You get married once. Thomas Frank said, "Go and enjoy it. Come back a bit later." Probably that's what the case is.
Ty's one of the most interesting FPL managers. That's what I'm going to say. I think
marriage and linking marriage and FPL. Well, we'll get to
people do this, anyone that's active on FPL Twitter.
If you want to succeed in FPL, you need to look at the whole catalogue. At Argos, where you used to flick through all the pages. I'm going through every page, guys. So for that, you need to like the video that I just mentioned that he's got married, and that might be why he's not in the squad. But guys, yeah, this is FPL. You need to look at everything possible, Satman.
And this is another thing that I said with that 7 point. On the Solanke point, the married thing. A lot of people on FPL Twitter would look at when, for example, a person's wife might be pregnant, just so they know they might miss the game. This is the amount of detail that you have to go into FPL sometimes, isn't it? So as much as we laugh at Ty, listen, the game's the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the game is the game. Exactly. So looking at your front three, we've gone through Watkins and Pedro. The 4.5. There's no Mark Guay.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people with Mark Guay are probably, let's say, preparing potentially for a bench boost too, because a lot of people are preparing for a bench boost early. I think with me is, just because I know how high Mark Guay's ownership is going to be, I know people are preparing for a bench boost. I'm not too sure Mark Guay starts straight away in it because I don't think he's played in preseason.
I agree.
This is another problem, how I explain the 7.5 million price structure. A lot of people are probably going to be frustrated when Mark Guay don't start the first couple games. That 4.5 could easily go to a 4.4 in terms of a price drop in it. And realistically, you want to look at your team value at the start of the season because you're trying to make sure you get every single little gain in, especially when prices are a bit tight, if that makes sense, innit? That's why I think with Krupa Jr., listen, he might play for Bournemouth a couple minutes here and there. His goal record at, I think, Lorient, I think it was. Or he played in the second division of France anyway. Okay. I think he got over 20 goals, I think it was. So his goal record is decent. He's still a young striker. He might get a couple minutes here and there. But at the same time, Mark Guay, if he was my first striker, was not going to play. And I know Mark Guay's price is probably going to go down because we see every single year with FPL.
Yep.
So Krupa Jr., he's just there as a point, as like a placeholder, really. Nothing much to say, but people might disagree. If they think Mark Guay's minutes might be better.
You can line up with a 4-4-2, 3-5-2 in your team anyway. So, like you said, at a place point, it's not a bad option at all. But
I think a lot of people obviously going to go with a 3-5-2. I think for the first opening game, if I do stick with this, it's going to be a 4-4-2. I think Anderson will be on the bench. Juve will start just because I think I see the upside with Juve potentially against Sunderland. Also, just quickly, there's one player that I think both of us potentially might be overlooking in the defensive point of view, and that's Pedro Porro.
Oh, okay.
We've seen a lot of people.
You haven't seen my team yet. I might have him.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people potentially in drafts have Van der Ven. But I think at that 5.5 million price point, Porro is very, very interesting. With the Maddison injury, Porro is taking a lot of set pieces now, isn't it? Tottenham obviously have great fixtures to attack. So that's something where if I do get rid of Tarkowski, Porro could potentially be the replacement. That's all I'm going to say. But
there you go.
It's something I have to think about.
We've given you a bit of a teaser, people, on potential differentials while we've done this video. This is Bains' team. As you can see here, people, I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10. I think there's a lot of starters in here with Watkins, Pedro, Palmer, Gakpo, Salah. I really like that front five. I think with Virgil, Tarkowski, Murillo, or Diouf, I think there you've got good options. Regular players that are going to start 90 minutes, and Sanchez, based off Chelsea's preseason, should be a lock-in, really. So you've got a real good base, and I think that's what you need when you start FPL. But guys, it's all about you guys. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Do you agree with some parts? Do you disagree? Tell us about your teams, because we are going to be interacting with you. This is FPL Hive, where you're going to find your best FPL content. We are very authentic guys. We just want to give you the best in what we do. And we're just normal guys as well who enjoy the game of FPL. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. And, be on this journey with us. I will see you soon on the next one. Take care.